Today I'm going to an island in the Pacific off the coast of Australia. It's a chain of islands known as the Solomon Islands, and the one specific island that I'm going to is right here. It's named Guadalcanal. And I'm going to Guadalcanal because Guadalcanal was the first American offensive during World War II. This is where the United States began fighting back against the Japanese. Japan had taken the island and they were threatening the supply lines between the United States and Australia, so the U.S. stepped in and pushed them off the island. The date was August 7th, 1942, when approximately 11,000 United States Marines landed along this beach here. And at that time, they were here to capture this airport, but this runway right here was not there at that time. It was actually this runway up here. You can kind of see the old runway here. It was called Henderson Field, or they named it Henderson Field. So they came and took the island on August 7th, and then on August 19th, Japan, or the Japanese, brought in 917 infantry from the 28th Infantry Regiment, made up of about 917. They landed right here in this area, which is about 20 miles from the airport. You can see here's the airport. You go up to here. It's roughly 20 miles. Let's change that into miles. So you can see right about here the Japanese landed on August 19th and marched down through here. The United States got word that they were there, so the Marines, knowing that they were coming from their west, went ahead and set up a bunch of defenses along the Tenaru River. It was mistakenly named the II River on Marine Corps papers, but it's actually the Tenaru River, and it also became known as Alligator Creek. So United States Marines were all along here, ready to defend, and they even came around through this area right here. About 1:30 in the morning on August 21st, the Japanese from this area in here opened fire on the Marine Corps positions, and about 100 Japanese soldiers charged across the sandbar here and across the little Alligator Creek. But most of them were mowed down. There were a couple of places where some Marine positions were overrun, but Marines that were in reserve back here came up, killed the Japanese, and pushed them out. They pretty much killed just about all 100 of the first wave that came charging. And then about an hour later, a second wave of about 150 to 200 soldiers, Japanese soldiers, came charging across again. But once again, the Marines, with their machine guns, their rifles, and their giant shotgun cannons, canister cannons, 37 millimeter, which is basically a giant shotgun, just mowed them all down. And one of the Japanese officers went back and told the leaders that we need to retreat. They refused to retreat, and then they tried again. About 5 a.m. there was another Japanese attack, but this time they tried something different. They decided that they were going to try to flank the Marines, who were heavily defending the end of the airport. So they ended up running down the beach. Some of them were even in the surf right here, and they were going to try to come around and then flank the Marines. But what they didn't know is that the Marines' defensive line went all along here and along these trees here. And the photo that I'm going to show you, this one here, this is it's called the Battle of the Tenaru. You can see all the dead Japanese soldiers. There were several hundred of them laying on the beach. This is just a photo of a few of them. In this particular photo, you can see over here, you can see the water, you can see the tree line, how it starts to separate from the ocean water. And just behind the photographer would be the Tenaru River. So back here at Google Earth, this particular picture that I just showed you was taken roughly right about in here. Those dead Japanese soldiers were laying along the beach right in here. The photographer was approximately in here, facing to the west. And you can see the water right here and how it kind of meets up with the trees. But it was in this area right here that this particular photo was taken that you can see here. Now I'm going to show you another photo, which would be this one here. This also is the mouth of the II River, Tenaru, and you can see more dead Japanese soldiers. And I scoured this picture and I figured out that this particular picture was taken approximately right in here, and The Tenaru at that time was running through and coming down this way and then running into the surf here. But those dead soldiers were laying right along here, and the Marines from across the river mowed them down. The Japanese were hiding in this area right here for cover, and when they came down to charge along the coast here to try and flank the Marines, they were pretty much mowed down. So right in here, and the photographer was approximately in here, I'm guessing, with the river behind him. That's where this photo was taken right here. So, eventually what happened? Out of the 917 Japanese soldiers, after they got mowed down about 5 o'clock, they kind of clustered up in here, or whoever were left, and the United States Marines went on the offensive, and they came across through here with tanks and everything else they had, and they just finished them off. I think only 126 or 128 Japanese survived, ran back to the east to the point that they were originally dropped off, and a lot of them, they said, were run over. There was dead and dying Japanese soldiers that were run over by the tanks. So out of 917 Japanese soldiers, the majority of them were killed right here in this area, in this river, but most of them right here along this beach. And that would be the Battle of the Tenaru, or the fight for Henderson Field. It took place August 21st, 1942, when U.S. Marines stopped a Japanese advance from retaking Guadalcanal. So there you have it, one of the battles of Guadalcanal from Google Earth.